A Fox News alert, the government funding bill on its way to President Biden's desk after the Senate passed the measure just minutes past the deadline. The stopgap measure still a sticking point with many Republicans as dozens of GOP lawmakers voted no despite multiple revisions. But our next guest voted in favor of the bill, Republican Congressman Mike Lawler. Congressman, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
So last night, Republicans, with the help of Democrats, passed this bill that did not include Donald Trump's number one ask, which was getting rid of or at least extending the debt ceiling. Is that something that's going to happen soon?
Well, it's going to have to. The debt ceiling limit is reached next year, likely by about June. But look, we're still in a divided government, and I think people fail to recognize that, even though the focus has been on President Trump. Joe Biden is actually still the president, which is really mind-boggling because nobody's heard from him in weeks. And in fact, during this entire negotiation, he was nowhere to be found. Look, I believe, like President Trump, that the debt ceiling does need to be lifted. This is not about future debt. This is about previous debts incurred, and we have to pay those debts. And every time you start paying the debts, you run up against the limit. And so the debt limit, while I understand its purpose, the reality is we're one of the only countries in the world that actually has it. It's been used as a political piñata for decades now. The party in the minority uses it as leverage in a negotiation. And I think what President Trump is trying to avoid is giving Democrats a loaded gun to hold to his head here. We have a situation next year where Republicans will be in complete control of Washington. And we have a lot of work to do, especially through reconciliation. We have to get our appropriations work done. And I think the president was trying to avoid Democrats being able to use that as a weapon. Interestingly enough, Elizabeth Warren agrees with him. She thinks the debt ceiling should be eliminated altogether. So, look, this is something we're going to have to deal with in the new year. I agree with my 34 or so colleagues that voted against the bill insofar as we have to reduce our debt. We're at 36 trillion. We have to bring down federal spending, but we're going to be best positioned to do that in the new year with Republican control of Washington, not right now in a divided government.
And a question about next year, Congressman. To get this funding bill through and to avoid the government shutdown, Speaker Johnson needed a lot of Democratic help. When Kevin McCarthy did that, he got canned. So, in less than 2 weeks at the speaker vote, is Johnson toast?
Well, I reiterate, removing Kevin McCarthy was the single stupidest thing I've ever seen in politics, and really undermined our ability as a majority for the entirety of the 118th Congress. Removing Mike Johnson would equally be as stupid.
And so you're going to vote for Mike Johnson in 2 weeks on the first ballot?
Absolutely. Look, President Trump needs to have his election certified on January 6th. If you don't have a speaker, you can't certify the election. So to throw, a grenade into the speaker vote would disrupt the ability to certify the election and, frankly, get President Trump sworn in on January 20th. We don't have the time nor the margin to do that. So we need to work together as a team. I get people's frustration, but let's focus on the work of the American people and put the petty grievances aside.
And to your point, no speaker, can't certify the election in that case. I saw somewhere, if that happens, then the president on Inauguration Day would be Chuck Grassley. Thank you, Congressman Mike Lawler.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.